welcome back to another episode of the Amateur Hour podcast. I'm joined by Colin today.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in.
I am Jacob. I'll be hosting again. Today we're going to be talking about our predictions for the NBA awards at the end of this season. The season just started a couple days ago. We thought we'd go through the MVP race, the MIP race, Rookie of the Year race, six-man race.
Yeah.
And
we're going to predict, even after one game,
Player of the Year.
We're going to predict the
we would have predicted... We could have predicted the start of the year, but we'll predict now.
Yeah.
Basically, we're not going to go off that one game or the couple sets of games we've seen. But
there's still a lot of sample left to analyze. But you can always have your picks at the beginning of the year, and hopefully they'll prevail by the end of the season. You never know.
We'll go in this order. We'll go MVP, MIP, six-man, Rookie of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year. So we'll get right into it. We'll start off with the MVP race.
Jacob.
My picks. I have two picks. I think it's a two-horse race between LeBron James and Steph Curry.
Yep.
I'll start with Curry, so it's a bit easier.
Yeah.
Curry, he's already been an MVP twice.
Yeah. There's really not much else new you can say about Curry.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what he brings.
Greatest shooter of all time. He's gonna be absolutely wet. He has to make up for the touches of Kevin Durant completely. And for a lot of the touches of Klay Thompson, who apparently won't be playing this season.
Yeah.
He's going to put up 30 points minimum.
I agree.
For sure.
Yep.
He's probably going to get around 5 rebounds, 5 assists. That's normally what he puts up.
I actually think he could get his assists up this year. He actually has gotten 8.5 assists earlier in his career when he was about 25. That was the first year that he made an All-Star team.
Yep.
He put up 24 and 8.5, that's really good. And
yep.
I think now that he doesn't really have as many weapons as he used to, I think he's gonna have to use his teammates a lot more, because obviously we know Steph is gonna be Steph. He's gonna put up 30 a night, but they're gonna have to make up for all that other lack of scoring. And I think he is gonna increase his assist numbers, because when he was playing with Durant, Durant's a really isolation scorer. Yeah. You're not, you're going to get a couple assists from Durant, but when you give Durant the ball, he's doing his own thing, right? You're not really getting assists.
You may not always get that assist off of a Durant
I think if I'm going to predict his stat line, I'd say 31 around there points, 7, 8 assists, and then
You think that many assists?
I think so.
I don't know if we'll get that many assists. I think low 30s for sure for scoring. I can't conceive him getting less than 30 points.
But the thing is, I think Steph's got something to prove this year. I think because
to a degree, you're right.
Everyone in the West has been stacking up, right? And in a way, you could look at the Warriors and say, well, you guys kind of regressed a little bit, right? Because they lost Durant, they lost Iguodala, Klay Thompson's out. They have regressed, you could argue, right? And I think Steph's got a lot to prove. He's going to prove that, look, he's still a perennial MVP. He's still one of the greatest scorers of all time, I think.
I think also, in a way to prove it, it looks like they can't win without Durant, because when they had Durant, they won twice.
Yeah.
And the past 2 postseasons, they didn't have Durant, so I'm counting last season and the year before Durant signed, they did not win. NBA championship.
I don't think you could argue that they don't win without Durant.
No,
because it was one
No, I know. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying Curry's got a bit to prove that this is still his team.
Yeah, and I think when they had Durant, there was a lot of whose team is it? Is it Curry's team? Is it Durant's team?
Yeah,
right? Cause,
that's what I mean.
Because everyone say, look, I think Durant's a better player than Curry, but it's not far, right? That's not talking down on Curry, but Durant's just he's a different player. And even when they had Durant, I still thought it was Curry's team, and I think it will always be Curry's team.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think
I think he needs to do a bit to prove that to people, just to show it out.
Oh, yeah.
And just the volume of shooting he's going to have is just going to be ridiculous.
He's going to put up 25 shots a game. It's going to be stupid.
Another interesting thing about this is that since the Warriors are worse, I've said this before, but in games where Curry puts up 30 points within the first 3 quarters, usually the Warriors are smacking the team they're playing, so you rest Curry for the 4th quarter. But we're going to get to a point where he's going to have his 30 after 3 quarters, but it's going to be a close game because the Warriors aren't as good anymore.
They're going to have to keep giving him the ball.
So he's going to have to play 4th quarter minutes, even with 30 points already after
Yeah,
3 quarters. So he's gonna have crazy stat lines in some games.
I honestly, I wouldn't even put it past him if he goes on a stretch of like 40, like 35,
like
40,
like the
45,
similar
like,
one to Harden put up last
yeah,
season, where
he went on like 20 games in a row
with
of
30
like
plus points.
Yeah, that's insane.
So
like,
yeah, I could see something similar. I could definitely see something similar.
My MVP, I did have Steph Curry. He's my pick for MVP just because of what we just said. He's gonna get the ball. So
I have him with LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron. I also think LeBron will be in the MVP race. I mean, judging the way he played a couple days ago, wasn't that great, but you know, there's still plenty of season left. I think
one game. There's 81 games to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of season left, and the Clippers are a tough team. Everyone knows that.
And Kawhi's a tough player.
But I don't think LeBron will get it because he's playing with Anthony Davis.
You think?
If that makes sense. Because the MVP is it's the most valuable player on your team, right? But you could also argue that the Lakers' success is also in terms of Anthony Davis as well. And I just don't think you could give it to one over the other because they're like a two-headed monster. I mean, I still think LeBron will be up there for MVP race. I could still even see Anthony Davis being up there for MVP race, but I just don't think it'll go to either of them because they're on the same team.
So you think it'll kind of take away?
Yeah, I think it'll kind of diminish their MVP kind of resume this year just because you were playing with Anthony Davis. Obviously, they're going to make each other better. I think another player you could go for MVP, obviously Giannis.
Well, hey, let me give you my take on LeBron before we move on.
Okay.
I think LeBron, he's just come off a season, a bit of an injury-plagued season, by LeBron standards.
Yeah, he's been an Iron Man ever.
Only played 55 games, but this is the first time in 8 years he did not make the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
This is the first time in 8 years LeBron has had a full summer to rest.
4-month rest.
LeBron is fully healthy, he is fully rested, and he is hungry.
Do you think LeBron has something to prove too?
I do, because at the Lakers, not yet proven.
People were talking down on him last year. They're like, LeBron, you can even bring that Lakers
Well,
team
you know what?
playoffs?
Before he got his first injury, they were the 4th seed.
They were doing well. They were holding their own in the West.
They were doing very well. And I think there's not a lot of depth in this team. So LeBron's going to have to be playing a fair amount, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I think, LeBron is like a religious 27 points per game player.
He's gonna get 27, 8 and 8. That's
that's what he. But what I honestly can see is because he's gonna be playing in tandem with Anthony Davis, there might be a very slight regression in points, but a big progression in rebounds and specifically assists because he has that talent. Like he's got Danny Green 3 and D right beside him. Danny Green put up. 34 points against the Clippers?
He put up 28, 29. But anyways,
Danny Green went off. He's not going to do that in every game.
I don't think he's going to do that for the whole season.
But that's what Danny Green can give you. He can give you.
He can explode on any night.
He's a catch and shoot guy.
I remember in the playoffs, he exploded for 6 threes against the Warriors.
Yeah, in the finals.
Yeah.
So I think he could even put up 27, 7, 7, 27, 8 and 8 is what he usually puts up. But I could see him putting up maybe 25, 9 and 9, maybe 25, 10 and 9. 25, 10, and 8, around that area, because I think he's going to be much more involved on the ball. They've been giving him a lot of, I don't know if they started him at point guard against the Clippers, but,
he runs point anyways.
They're kind of having him run point.
Even though he's not listed as point guard, he's running
that high pick and roll with Anthony Davis is going to be ridiculous. So
stupid.
And I think the first game is an outlier for LeBron. LeBron,
I do too. I think he's had a bad game.
It was uncharacteristic of him. It wasn't he just wasn't as hungry as it wasn't as attacking like usual.
Yeah, he looked really passive in that
game. I think it's an outlier.
I do too.
It's 81 games left, like I said.
One thing I don't think we've taken into consideration with LeBron is he's in the West now, right? He spent his whole career beating up all the teams in the East, and the West has consistently been the stronger conference.
More than ever now.
Yeah, more than ever now, especially now. I think it's the highest difference between conference in my recent memory. But anyways, what I'm saying is I think LeBron's in a tougher conference. He's going to be playing against better players and better teams, I think he's going to have to get used to that a little bit instead of just being able to beat up on like the Magic and the Hawks and, you know, like all those teams in the East where he's been able to just dominate and win MVPs and kind of just cruise to the finals. I think
I wouldn't say cruise to the finals.
Not cruise, but like he's made 8 straight finals in the East. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. I don't like if you're expecting that from LeBron in the West, I think you're kind of fooling yourself a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to see the human in LeBron now, not only because he's playing in the West against a bunch of better players, but also the fact that he's going to be 35. We're going to start seeing, you know, a little bit more human like LeBron, not just like take over a game, give me the ball, get out of my way. I think he's going to have a harder time winning games, and I think he's going to have to work for his buckets more. That's not saying that I don't think he can do it. I still think he'll be in the MVP race, but I think we're going to start seeing a few more of LeBron's flaws this year now, like more than ever than we have in the first 15 years.
I think I can agree with that. But still for me, Curry, LeBron, I think LeBron's going to be LeBron regardless of the opponent. He rises to the occasion.
He does. He's a big-time player. Big-time
player, big-time plays, and LeBron is one of those guys for sure.
He's the GOAT.
He's a GOAT for me.
Yeah. I think you could also make an MVP case for Giannis.
Yeah.
I mean, he won it last year. I don't see why he wouldn't be in the race this year.
You can make a case for a lot of players. These are just my two. I could definitely... Giannis, obviously.
And like, we haven't even seen Giannis play yet. Right? Like, if he just stays the way that he was last year, he'll still be in the MVP race. And we don't even know if he's added different pieces to his game. Because we haven't seen
He claims he's nowhere near his full potential. And he's not, because he has no jump shot. He has no jump shot. He's inconsistent from
He won the MVP without shooting the ball.
Yeah.
That's just...
I know.
Yeah, so I think you have to put Giannis in that conversation. Any like wild cards for MVP?
Like outside picks?
Yeah, like not like obviously there's gonna be like LeBron, Curry, like Kawhi, Davis,
an
Giannis. You know what I mean? Like outsider, maybe like they'll have a crazy good season.
Well, based off Kyrie Irving's 50-point night last night, you could maybe
you could argue that. You could argue Kyrie. I don't think Kyrie's going to be MVP.
Kyrie Irving's in the East. I mean, you want an outsider? Kyrie Irving's in the East.
An outsider for me would be Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Ben Simmons too.
I want to see him shoot first. If there's going to be, I think if it's going to be,
did not shoot a 3-pointer last night in Boston.
I think if it's going to be either Simmons or Embiid, it'll go to Embiid just because he's gets more points, more whatever. But
Simmons looked so good yesterday. Simmons looked great on he's
looked great anyways. Like it's not like
he looks so
he's still
good
a superstar.
At the rim. He's so tough to defend.
Yeah.
Man.
So I think my wild card pick would be Embiid.
I can attest to that.
All right.
So I think that's it for MVP. We'll move on to MIP. We did have a full episode on this before. We're not going to go as in-depth this time, but check out that one, the MIP episode. But we'll reiterate again, me and Colin are on the exact same page for this one. Say it. Who's MIP this season?
Oh. The player I was thinking of, and I even said it in the podcast about most improved.
We both have the same guy.
Who was it?
DeJounte Murray.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, he's healthy again this year. He's coming off a really bad injury.
Didn't play last season
at all. He's going to be the starting point guard. I don't know right away.
I don't know. I
maybe not right away, but I think as the season goes on.
I think it's going to be White and Forbes running the guards to start.
Yeah. I think to start, as you get Murray kind of incorporated.
Forbes is probably going to have that.
He's coached by Greg Popovich. I mean, he turned Tony Parker into a Hall of Famer.
He did.
Yeah, Murray, I love his game. He's a tall, really athletic point guard. He can do everything pretty well. Like he can shoot, he can create his own thing, he can defense, run the floor,
he's a good defender.
All that good stuff. I really like DeJounte Murray. But what I was gonna say was, if you guys listened to the Most Improved podcast that we did a while ago, I said Bam Adebayo.
You're really gonna preach him as a top
I'm still
pick.
Gonna say Bam, and you guys kind of roasted me for it.
I don't know.
You guys kind of roasted me for it, but
I don't like it, man.
Okay, here's why. I said this before, and I'll say it again. Yes, he only did put up 9 points, 7.5 rebounds last year, but he was only playing 23 minutes a game. He only started 28. He only started 28 of the 82. He played a full 82 last year. He only started 28. Now that Whiteside is gone, Bam is going to be the starting center, and they added more pieces onto that team. They added Jimmy Butler. They picked up Tyler Hero, who's looking like he's going to be a good piece for them. I don't know what you think, but I think he's going to be a good rotation.
Best
piece
shooter
for
in the
them.
draft.
Yeah, best shooter as of right now. I think Miami's going to be a wild card in the East. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year.
I think they're a low playoff seed if they make it.
Yeah. I think Adebayo, he's going to keep increasing. He's super young. He's only 22 right now. I love his game. He's super athletic. Like, he's a center, but he's really athletic. He's like a jump out of the gym kind of guy. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about Bam. I think he could be in the conversation for most improved. I think he will be most improved.
Oh, you think he'll win it?
I think he'll be neck and neck with DeJounte. I don't know yet, but we'll see.
You said last time DeJounte. That's why I thought you were on the same page.
You know,
DeJounte for me.
Opinions change.
I'm
not disagreeing with DeJounte. I'm just saying I want to add Bam into that.
The big thing for me, like you said all the good things about DeJounte Murray. In this discussion, this is kind of important. He doesn't have great numbers, so that's not a bad thing.
He doesn't have good numbers, but he has good all around.
No. But I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm saying it because there's a lot of room for improvement. Like if he makes a jump, there's gonna be a huge jump. Like that's the kind that's gonna get you the most improved player award.
Yeah.
That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm not giving him smack for those numbers. I'm just saying, since they don't look that good, there's potential for a big jump.
That is true. Yeah,
that's why I'm saying he's in.
And we both agree that we think DeJounte is gonna go off. Like, yeah, his stats aren't like if you look at the stats. They're not, like, crazy. Like, he only put up 8 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. But, again, I think with DeJounte, it's the eye test.
Yeah.
He's quick, and he is tall and athletic. Like, you don't really see that too much from point guards. Like, I think he's listed at 6'5", which is tall for a point
guard.
For a point guard, that's tall. And, he's a great athlete. He's going to be playing under Greg Popovich in his system. They've still got a decent team around them. I think the Spurs are a bubble playoff team.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I think DeJounte Murray's going to be up there as well. Anybody else?
I think Lonzo Ball will be in the discussion for sure.
Interesting, very interesting. He only put up like I think 8
wasn't
points,
great against the Raptors.
5 assists, something like that.
Wasn't great against the Raptors.
But I've said this before with Lonzo. Lonzo is not a scorer. If you expect Lonzo to give you a bucket when you need it, you're gonna fool yourself.
I think he can put up like 13 points, and then I think he can get up to 9 assists. Honestly,
he can.
Assists.
Oh yeah, he
especially
can.
playing with guys.
I don't know if you saw that pass he made, but there was a play where he came off a screen and he kind of fed the ball to I don't know who it was, but he passed the ball with one hand. He kind of passed it like that. I mean, you guys can't see what I'm saying.
Like he reached his right arm over to the left side.
He reached his right arm over to the left side and then passed it back to the right side. It was crazy. Like it was really cool. But.
You got guys like Ingram look good when Zion's back, and
they've got like scorers.
And you've
on
got
that
JJ
team.
Redick. JJ Redick, you're gonna get it.
You're gonna get at least 3 assists off Redick every night. Right? Drew Holiday will give you a bucket. Like they've got scorers on this team, and that's perfect for Lonzo. Like Lonzo is not a scorer.
So I think he'll be in the discussion for that. My sleeper pick on this, I said in the MIP episode, is OG Anunoby.
I remember that.
Because OG Anunoby, not great stats from last year. Played 67 games. Missed the whole playoffs, I believe. Only 7 points. Not even 1 assist. And just under 3 rebounds.
But think, when OG was drafted, he was drafted as a raw, athletic defender.
Yep.
Kind of like Siakam was.
He's coming a bit alive. Yeah, he looked good.
He looked good in the game against the Pelicans.
Put up 11 points. I think he can make a big enough jump to be in this conversation.
That's fair. He's going to have a bigger role.
He's going to have a primary role.
I think he's going to start at small forward now.
He started at small forward, I think he will continue to start. He's going to be a main option on offense now. He's a great defender. Like, I remember him doing a job on LeBron in his rookie year. I mean, you can only do so much against LeBron.
But he did the best that he did a decent job.
And I can see him making the jump to put himself in the conversation.
Okay. My sleeper pick is going to be Miles Turner.
Yeah, I can see it.
Miles Turner, he's 23 years old. He's a starting center for the Pacers. Last year he put up 13 points, 7 rebounds, 2.7 blocks, which I really like. He led the league in blocks last year.
He led the preseason in blocks too. He had 3.5 blocks per game in preseason.
Gosh. And in the preseason, 3.5 blocks, not even playing starter minutes either.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miles Turner for me is my sleeper pick. If he's going to make the jump to most improved, I think he's going to need to score the ball a little bit more. We already know how great of a defender he is.
It'll be tough for him, I think, because his block stats are already so high, because his points are pretty high for his role. It'll be tough for me to see a big enough jump for him to get that.
But yeah, I think like he can spread the floor. He shot 39% on 2.5 attempts last year, which is pretty good for a center.
Yeah.
His field goals, under 500, but as long as you're hovering around the 500 for a center, I think that's fine. I think if he's going to make the jump to most improved, he's going to need to get more rebounds. I want to see like 9 rebounds a game from him.
Yeah, and he can do it.
His blocks are just amazing, outstanding. And then, like 16, 17 points, I think you could put him in the conversation. That's why I have him as my sleeper.
Okay, well, we'll move on to the six-man award. There's not much of a discussion.
There really is not much of a discussion.
It's Lou Williams.
It is Lou Williams.
It's Lou Will again. They should
Lou
rename
Williams.
the award after him because this is his award.
They should.
I just don't understand why he's not capable of starting, but won the award last year.
I don't even know why he didn't start last year, which is kind of weird. But.
Well, because it's been proven in the past that he just doesn't get it done when he starts. For some reason, when
he just likes coming off the bench.
He started one game last year of the 75 he played for the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Did not start against the Lakers, however, put up 21 points.
He didn't start against the Lakers.
No, but he put up 21 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much of an argument here. He's an incredible volume scorer. He's won the award.
He's a walking
How many
bucket.
times has he won the award?
3 times.
3 times already?
He won it back-to-back now. You think he could three-peat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think he will three-peat. He's going to be on a championship caliber team.
Yeah,
he's going to come off the bench and be
He's going to have great players to help him. Probably the best team he's ever played on.
Oh yeah, 100% the best teams ever played on. Yeah, I think if you don't have Lou Williams in your conversation for this, I think you're just crazy.
If I have to pick another guy, I like Domantas Sabonis a lot. Played very well yesterday.
Yeah.
He had some 27 points. He was in the finals. He was a finalist last year for the award. Just got paid $77 million over 4 years. He's a good player. He's a quality player. He's great off the bench. Started 5 games last year of his 74. Put up 14 points. And he's just improving every year.
Yeah.
Big jumps every year, and I think he's prepared to make another, not quite as big of a jump, but I feel he's going to make another jump, and he'll be in the conversation, but it's the Lou Will Award.
It is.
Yeah, that's all you can really say about that.
There's not really many other players I'm going to think of. Another name that kind of just came to mind would be Dion Waiters. I'm going back to the Miami Heat. We haven't really talked about Dion Waiters, ever. But
you think Dion Waiters?
I don't see why not. He's the backup.
I don't know,
man.
There's
a
lot of personal issues going on with Dion Waiters right now.
There is.
And for that reason, I think it's going to hinder the progress at the start of the season for him. But
fair.
I can kind of see him being involved in the conversation. It's tough to pick
I don't it's hard to pick against Lou Will.
Okay, but I think for the personal reasons involved in Dion Waiters really thinks he's better than he is.
Yeah.
By the way.
I agree.
I think it was him who was on Cleveland when LeBron got drafted. And I think he was kind of
drafted. No. Dion's only 26.
Oh, am I? Okay. I'm off.
He
I don't know. I don't think
he left the Cavaliers when LeBron rejoined, and then he went to OKC.
Yeah.
And then was part of a trade between OKC and Miami. Between OKC and Miami, and then that's where he is now.
That's what it was. It was when LeBron rejoined. I think he was not on the same page with that move because LeBron obviously takes some of his minutes, but
if I'm him, I stay.
And I think he's also gotten into some issues with Jimmy Butler as well.
Really?
Dion Waiters has a strong personality.
Fair. But yeah,
it's
personality aside, he's a good he can score. He can do his own thing on offense. I don't think he's as He's a point guard, but I don't think he's a great distributor. I want to see him distribute the ball more. Now that he has Jimmy Butler, he's got some more pieces. I don't think there's a strong case for Dion, but I'm just gonna throw him in there.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll go to the Rookie of the Year talk.
Interesting.
We did do a rookie class episode already. If you want to go check that out, we went over the entire draft class. We did talk about who we think is going to win Rookie of the Year. I'll go right into mine. I said Ja Morant. A bit of a hot take because Zion Williamson involved in the league.
You know what? I actually don't think Zion. I think because he's gonna miss like 8 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to get to that. But Ja Morant in preseason was third in assists behind James Harden, who's going to get a lot of assists, and Fred VanVleet.
Ooh.
But Ja Morant, 7.2 assists per game in preseason. I think there's enough pieces on Memphis for him to get to the assists. You're going to get a lot of assists feeding JV inside.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think Ja Morant proved throughout his entire...
And Jaren Jackson.
His entire college career that he's been a great distributor of the ball.
And one thing I want to say with Ja, you kind of see this with like top tier rookie point guards. They don't always start out the greatest. Like last year, if you remember, Trae Young didn't start well at all. Trae Young really
finished very well.
That's what I'm saying, right? I think with young point guards, it's going to take some time to learn the offense, right? And get kind of, right, like the jump from college to the NBA is huge. And it's not always a smooth transition for players. And I think especially for point guards, when they have the responsibility of, carrying the offense, right? He's the number 2 overall pick. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
I think right off the bat, I don't think he's going to start too hot, but I think by the end of the season, kind of like Trae Young did last year, I think he's going to explode.
Yeah, Ja Morant's quality player. Zion also is... He's going to miss the first 6
You have to
weeks
put
of
in
the season.
Zion. You still have to
you
talk
know
about
what?
Zion.
You got to talk about Zion, but I think Zion's going to really struggle to stay healthy throughout this whole year. I talked about it in the Klay Thompson episode a couple days ago, but what I said about Zion is he's 285 pounds at 6'6", and he's a very athletic player. Like, his game revolves around athleticism, and that amount of weight is going to take a large toll on his body.
Absolutely,
and
I agree.
He missed Summer League. He missed part of Duke's end of season.
He missed part of preseason.
And he missed part of preseason. And also, he's missing the start of the season. Like, it is clear there is an issue in terms of his health.
Yeah, he hasn't even played an NBA game yet, and he's already had, 3 or 4 decent injuries in a year.
The Pelicans have talked that it's not his weight that is the issue. Like, they're saying it in the sense that he's not unhealthy because of his weight. But what I'm going to say, does that make sense? What I'm going to say about his weight is that even though he's healthy at the weight, it's just too much of a toll on his body.
It's a lot of weight to carry around, and if you're going to be playing as a starter, you're going to be falling.
I really think he's going to need to lose weight if he wants to stay healthy.
Yeah,
because he's such a great talent.
Even 15
he gets a bit leaner. Yeah, he gets a bit leaner. I mean, I don't think it's going to affect his game very much. And honestly, it could even improve his athleticism. But Zion Williamson, I said he's going to, when he plays, he's going to average 17 points, 7 or 8 rebounds. He's going to be in the conversation.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I have Ja Morant just because I think he's going to look really good.
He's going to play more games than Zion, too.
The Memphis are really going to try to build around Ja Morant.
They've already said they're going to build around him.
He's going to get a ton of assists.
Yeah.
And no lack of confidence in this guy. I think he's going to go attack the league.
I agree.
I think he's going to...
I agree. I also, I think my 1 and 2 would be Zion, Ja. If I'm going to pick a wild card, I'll probably say Tyler Hero.
You think Tyler Hero's going to go off?
Did you see the way he's playing, man? He's a bucket.
He dropped Grayson Allen yesterday.
Did he? Yeah. I didn't see it, though.
He dropped Grayson Allen. I mean, best shooter in draft. I've already said that.
Yep. Best shooter in the draft. Not even close.
My outsider will be Cam Reddish, just because he didn't play great for Duke. He could have been better.
But that's just because he was beside RJ and
Tough
Zion.
to play behind RJ and Zion, but, the Hawks are really building around their youth. And I think Cam Reddish is one. They drafted him, was it 10th in the draft?
He was 11th.
11th. So... He's gonna be part of their system for sure. They're gonna build around this young core.
Yep.
And I think because of how athletic he is, and I think he will come into his own, and I think he will be.
He's got a smooth stroke.
Oh yeah,
smooth stroke
for sure. And he missed some big shots for Duke, but I think he's gonna find his feet in the NBA.
I with Cam, he kind of reminds me of a young Paul George because Like, not on the defensive side, but on the offensive side. Like,
Just his stroke. Like
the stroke is so smooth. And
a smooth player.
And the way he carries himself, it is so smooth. Like, it looks effortless in a way. Like, it looks like he's just kind of like dancing around. And that's what I see in Paul George.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Same thing, like, he's tall. He's like 6'9". He's got a pretty big wingspan. Like, he can score the ball.
Was he the third rated recruit out of high school?
He was the third overall recruit behind Zion and RJ.
And they all went to Duke.
Duke, yeah.
Duke only got to the Elite Eight, was it?
The Elite Eight. They lost to Michigan State.
I know they lost to Wow.
But anyways, yeah, I think... Honestly, Cam Reddish, that's a good wild card. For me, it's going to be Hero. I think Hero's going to have more of a role on Miami than Cam will have on Atlanta. Because Atlanta, there's a lot of young pieces, right? They still want to build around Trey. They want to build around John Collins.
DeAndre Hunter.
They drafted Hunter 4th. They drafted him higher than Cam's. In their eyes, I think you could say they value Hunter a little bit more than Cam.
For sure. They drafted
So I think he's going to have a less of a role than Tyler Hero is going to have on the Heat, if that makes sense.
And I want to throw out PJ Washington just for the sole reason that last night he dropped 27 points and he scored 7 free points. He tied the record for...
Wasn't it 8?
No, 7.
Oh, 7?
Tied the record for first game in the NBA. For a rookie in the NBA for 3-pointers in a single game as your first game. I don't know if he's gonna keep it.
I
would not have put PJ Washington, but I just want to.
Yeah, it's the Hornets.
PJ Washington deserved a shout out.
Okay, shout out PJ.
Shout out PJ Washington.
Shout out PJ. All right, defensive
player of the year. I'll go ahead and start. It's really tough for me not to see a three-peat
for
Gobert. Because
yeah, I agree.
Utah they've been a great defensive team for years, but their problem every year in the playoffs is making jump shots. So they've done that this season. They've improved their jump shot ability, but they have gone down on defense. They
lost Derek Favors.
They lost Derek Favors at the 4. Yep. Derek Favors is a good defender. They're now probably going to have to be playing Bogdanovich at the 4. Bogdanovich is going to really... Yeah. Bogdanovich is going to be... They're going to struggle to defend at the 4.
I think he'll get thrown... He's not a pure 4. He's not a pure 4.
But he's going to have to play there. Yeah. And he's going to struggle to defend at the 4.
Yep.
Which means the defense load for Rudy Gobert is just going to become even greater.
Yeah.
And I think he will rise to that occasion. He's going to have to be an even bigger rim protector because Bogdanovich is going to struggle to guard at the 4.
He's going to need to help out there.
Gobert's going to... and you know what? He's good enough to do that.
He's
good enough to do that.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, he's have more... a higher volume of defensive plays.
I agree.
And I think he's going to rise to the occasion. And I can't, just for that reason, I can't see anybody else. I thought about it. I honestly cannot see anybody else winning this award.
Yeah. I completely agree. My thing with Gobert is the guy is just freakishly huge. Like,
he's a big boy.
7'1". I think he's got the second or third longest wingspan, or maybe the first. I don't know, but he's got a crazy wingspan. Like, even him just standing in the paint, putting his arms up is enough to derail an attack.
Oh yeah, you're thrown off.
He doesn't even need to get a rebound or a block to make a huge impact on the defensive side. And with the Jazz, they bolstered their roster. They picked up Bogdanovich and they picked up Mike Conley, which is huge. I think they're going to be even better than they were last year.
Oh, for sure.
There's not really much else we can say about Gobert. There's a very good chance he's going to three-peat. My candidate, I'm not going to say Gobert because we just said that, but another player...
Just to throw another name in the mix.
Throw another name in there, Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, kind of same thing as Gobert. The guy's huge. Like, he's listed as 6'10". I think he's bigger than that, honestly.
He's bigger than that.
He's listed as 6'10", 250. He looks huge, man. Like, I think he's one of the best two-way players in the game.
Top 5 player in the NBA.
Top 5 player in the NBA. He's going to be playing alongside LeBron. The defensive player award for me is different than the MVP. Like I said earlier, I don't think LeBron or AD will get... Like, they'll be in the conversation, but I don't think they'll either get MVP because they're playing with each other. But for defensive player of the year, I think you can single one person out because I think defensive award is more of, like, your own... is more individual than MVP is. Like, with MVP, you need pieces around to help you get MVP.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. But I think for defensive player of the year, there's more independence with that than MVP. But anyways, Anthony Davis, the guy, he's going to put up like 27, 12 and like 5 assists. But he has consistently averaged north of 2 blocks a game. Last year, he put up 2.4. The year before that, 2.6 blocks a game. I don't see any reason for that changing. He's going to be having to guard some of the best players in the world. Like I said earlier, they're playing in the Western Conference. They're going to have to go up against Kawhi and Paul George 7 or 8 times. Maybe not 7 or 8 times, but like 5 or 6 times.
Three more times this year. They're actually playing them.
They're going to go up against Harden, Curry, right? Like a bunch of really good scorers, and I think they're going to need Anthony Davis on the defensive side just as much as they're going to need him on the offensive side.
And the award is a big dominated award. Like
it is a big
bigs.
Dominated award.
The bigs always win, and it's very rare that you see a non-big win the award. I think the last time was Kawhi Leonard when he
2014.
I think he got back-to-back in that year. But bigs win it almost always, and I think it'll be the same. Gobert looks like it for me. I think you're in agreement. With AD, I think he'll probably end up playing the 5 a lot, even though he won't like it. And when he's playing the 5, I think he's big enough to work against the bigs, and I think he's more athletic than he's way more athletic than all those bigs.
Arguably the most athletic big in the league.
So in that area, it's gonna be really tough for a big to kind of maneuver the way around that because
he's so
he'll be able to match up very
well. There's a reason why he's probably the best big in the league. There's a reason why. The only thing I think would kind of hold Anthony Davis against this would be his injuries. He has not played a full season yet in his career.
Mm-hmm.
He played 64, 67, 68, 61, 75, 75, 56. I think if you're going to win Defensive Player of the Year, you need to play at least 70 games.
I think Kawhi Leonard won it one year when he didn't play a
Really?
lot of the season, actually. If I'm not mistaken, he's won Defensive Player of the Year twice. In 2014, he won the award, you said?
I think so.
He played 66 games in 2014.
Okay.
So it's not always that. Like, you can miss a bit of games because clearly.
But people will always use that against you.
They will definitely. When you want to talk about the award and like when it comes down to like your finalists, you may put that into discussion.
Yeah. I think
I'm looking now. He's Defensive Player of the Year in 2015, 2016. So, 2015 he played 64 games. So my point reiterated.
Yeah.
And he did back to back. The next year he played 72 games, a bit more. But
I think
it's not always that you have to play the full.
Yeah, but
it is a point against you.
It will be held against you.
Yes.
I think you have to make a case for Kawhi. You could always make a case for Kawhi being Defensive Player of the Year.
I mean, he strapped up LeBron.
Yeah.
The other day.
Locked up LeBron. He held LeBron to about 18 points.
He's the only guy who can distort LeBron. Like, consistently. Every time he plays him.
Dude, he derailed Giannis.
Like
he stopped Giannis.
He stopped
man.
Giannis. Like, this guy.
He's the real deal.
I think the bigs get the award because they always look like they're just because they're rim protecting. But you want to talk about
a big,
you want to talk about the best defender in the NBA. It's Kawhi Leonard.
It is.
This guy shut down the MVP.
And he's been the best defender for like 3 or 4 years now.
He shut down the MVP. He shut down the GOAT. And like, what was it, his second season in the NBA on the Spurs?
Second or third year when he won that.
He shut down the GOAT and won Finals MVP against that Miami team. This is the best defender in the NBA. But in terms of Defensive Player of the Year, it goes to bigs, and that's why Gobert is going to get it.
Yeah, but I think if it doesn't go to a big, you have to give it to
Kawhi.
Kawhi.
If you want to talk about just the best defender, it is Kawhi. Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How
you can't really compare you can't compare Kawhi and Gobert defensively because they have different defensive styles, right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Gobert, perhaps AD, perhaps Kawhi. Any like wild cards maybe?
Not for me. Not for me. This is who it is going to be.
I think this is a stretch, but you could make a case for Embiid. I'm really high on Embiid. I mean, I said he could be a wild card for MVP. He could also be a wild card for Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's a stretch for Defensive Player of the Year, but I think it's not too far.
Not out of this world.
It's not like outrageous, but
okay.
Yeah, maybe Embiid.
I'm on the page.
But that's only if like Gobert and and whatnot have like an off season. But
Yeah.
if Gobert does exactly what he did last year, he'll win it.
I think he'll be better than last year, just stat-wise, because he's got to make up for that Derek Favors absence. But I think that wraps it up for this episode. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Send your suggestions for future episodes at AmateurPDC, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yep.
We keep pumping out the daily content. We've been going strong.
We have been going strong. This is really good.
I can't believe we have maintained
We're not
the
stopping.
daily content. And we're not stopping.
No.
They keep coming. More daily content
And
on
again,
the way.
and again, and again.
And the next day.
And the next day? What about the day after that?
That day
That
too.
day too.
There's going to be a post.
There will also
Probably.
there will definitely be a post on your birthday.
That's
Whoever
true.
is listening.
That's true. There will
So,
be because
got a nice birthday present for it.
Any suggestion that has come in, it will happen at some point.
Yep.
Even if it takes a week, it could take a couple weeks, but we have them all. We're gonna get to them.
Even my mom got a suggestion.
Yeah, we'll get to everybody's suggestion. Just send them in to Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for listening. More episodes on the way soon, as I said. Thank you to Colin for joining.